It's July 13th, 2020, and we're doing week 4 of Joy Post. And I said that I would not read a blog post to you. Technically, I'm not reading this blog post to you. I am reading you a Facebook post. So if you're friends with me on Facebook, you heard this week. But I was just going to tell this story, but I feel like I would get so caught up in the drama and emotion of the story that it's probably best that I just read you this Facebook post. So to back up, we are doing Joy Post once a week on Mondays, and so you have a whole week to look for the joy in the everyday. And this happened to me this week. Actually, a couple of things happened to me this week, but we're going to read this one. And I will post a couple photos, and then we'll continue on. So anyway, on July 8th, I posted this. Like, I was right outside this window posting this, so forgive me. I'm going to read it to you. Here's a story for you this evening. Mama, you are looking hot, Eli informed me. He was giving me sideways glances. I am hot, I panted. I'm nearly dead. Yesterday, we bought me a bike. Tynestra Welding has bikes for sale, and one was my size, and I have been looking for a bike, thanks COVID for making bikes $195 plus on all secondhand sites I search. And it was $10. I was so excited. I nearly hugged Mr. Tynestra, and I very literally rode at home. I really did almost hug him. He would have fallen over. Anyway, I have never had a bike with gears, so in a strange set of circumstances, Eli and Abe had to teach me how to ride a bike today. Eli went over that bike today just to make sure it was deemed safe for his mama and had me ride it up and down the sidewalk just to get a feel for it. I did not crash. Then this evening after dinner, they suggested a real bike ride. So we rode down to the Evers Martin 116th Ponds. So I'm going to guess that that's like a mile? Yeah, probably a mile. On the way to the ponds, a dead raccoon had me nearly puking. A muskrat ran alongside of us. I should have known that this was going to be slightly more adventurous. My dearly loving boys decided to go just a tiny bit further. Now, I'm breaking away from reading right here. So I asked the boys if they had anything to say, like if they wanted to give their side of the story, because this is when it gets, that was interesting. This is when it gets really interesting. And they said no, but they would like their Eli especially wants his name cleared on this, because I did say after we turned the corner, because it's all downhill, and I'm like, we can go a little further. And I don't recall saying, I don't know, what's a country block, but I probably did. And when I think of around the corner, I'm thinking paved and nice. And anyway, let's continue our story and find out what happens. Did I mention that I left my phone at home? We're just going down a road a piece and back, and I thought I should leave my phone at home. Be in the moment, present, all the good mom things. I had no way to call my older sons to come rescue me if I needed rescuing. And now I was thinking I was going to perhaps be in need of assistance. We rode past my friend Holly's house, and if she had been outside, she would have heard me hollering, water, air, water, air, because I was realizing this wasn't going to be good for me, but I was too far to stop now. I saw a tractor hauling a hay wagon and nearly flagged it down for a ride home. What kept me going was not my motherly love, no. It was pride. It was the fact, mostly, that today I am wearing the clothes that I wear when it is too hot to wear clothes, and I did not want to be found passed out on the side of the road in such clothes. And I had to keep going somewhat fast because I also didn't want anyone to see me in my said clothes. As we turned down the dirt road with chatter bumps that I now had to ride over and corn closing in on me to make the breathing more and more work, Eli looked over at me. You look hot, Mama. We stopped under a tree where I used my shirt to wipe sweat from my face and didn't even care that my pale stretch marked tummy was showing as I mopped the sweat out of my eyes. We rode into town on smooth paved roads, and I was never more elated to turn the corner and see my driveway, my beautiful house. Eli asked me if I was getting it. Learning how to shift gears is not quite like shifting a truck, but I didn't crash and caught my gear, so I guess so. I literally pulled into the driveway cheering, I didn't die, I didn't die. I didn't hold my hands up. I was holding my handlebars. A passing tractor looked at me as though I may have heat stroke. When I went to walk up the steps to my back porch, I could hardly clear the steps. My legs just didn't want to work anymore. I fell into my cheery yellow outdoor chair. Abe brought me water. Eli brought me ice cream. To be fair, I told them I am out of shape. Eli wanted to know how someone can even get out of shape. He told me I did pretty fine, not great, and I need to go out again tomorrow morning, which I did. This is also why Eli was the one who brought me ice cream. So, I apologize to everyone in town who saw me riding. Brace yourself, I'm going back out tomorrow. No photos of me in my too hot to wear clothes. Just a cheery pic of when I thought my bike was the awesomest yesterday. I guess I still do think it's awesome. New adventures for us. So I will stop this and I will show you the photos that I posted. But I did survive. I have gone for a bike ride. Almost I did until this weekend. This weekend was crazy and I didn't. First of all, the boys teaching me how to ride a bike and then nearly dying. Oh my goodness. Anyway, I will post the pictures. 1 second. Okay, so that was a 90-degree day. The day, was that the same day? No, July 7, whatever day that was Tuesday. So on July 7th, on Tuesday, we went fishing. So you have to understand that I don't fish. I don't like fish. I can't stand the smell of fish. I don't like worms. I don't like bugs. I don't like any water that I can't see the bottom of. I can't eat fish. I get sick. So all those things just go to tell you that when I take my boys fishing, it's because I love them. So we went fishing this week. And we went to this little lake, which is beautiful. And I set my chair up and I was knitting. And we had fun there. But getting there was like the worst. The boys got in a fight. One of them was headed to work and they all got in this tussle and it was crazy. But we went fishing and Eli caught this huge bass and it looks amazing. And I'm going to post that picture here so you can see it. And it ended up being like one of the best days. So we had this terrible morning and like we weren't even speaking to each other on the way to the lake. And then we get to the lake and the day keeps progressing and it ended up being one of the best days. So I'm going to post a couple pictures of that next. So the fish was pretty cool. Huh. So we had 2 beach days. I'm like super sunburned because it finally got cool and I'm like, yay, it got cool and it was so wonderful that I forgot to put sunblock on and now I'm burned. But sun bum after sun lotion is the best. So I will probably post a link to that. It feels really great. So in other news, things that just made me outright laugh was the fact that I listened to the Big Boo podcast. I'm sure you are tired. I guarantee you my husband's tired of hearing me talk about the Big Boo podcast. But in that podcast, she talks about Sophie and Melanie are talking about Hamilton, so they had me. And then they talk about going up to the ranch, and Melanie does, and there was a snake in the toilet, and it reminded me of this fun story. So many years ago, when the boys were little, we went up to my husband's dad's cabin, and there's no electricity, no running water, it's an outhouse, anyway. So we're up there and my husband says to me, don't worry, there are no snakes up here. We're in the UP, there are no snakes. Now, I had never heard that before, and I just feel like maybe he told me that because he he wanted me to not be scared. So anyway, I have to walk through this tall grass. I'm a girl, I gotta use the outhouse all the time. So I walk out to the outhouse and I go pee, and I almost feel like something's tickling my behind. And I get up, and there is a snake curled all the way around the toilet seat. I have never recovered from this. And so when Melanie was talking about how she went to go use the bathroom in their house that's on the ranch, and there was a snake in the toilet, I was just like, Melanie, hun, I feel you. I could do one better, but you know what? We just survive. It's like we just survived. And this is why when I go places, I really consider where I have to use a bathroom, and I check toilets before I sit down, because a snake all the way wrapped around the toilet. The seat where you anyway, so that didn't actually happen this week, but that podcast I will link it. Laughed so much. I have listened to it probably 4 times. Melanie and Sophie, I could talk to you guys all the time, because basically I do, and my husband's tired of hearing about you because I talk about you all the time. So those are the funny stories I had for you today. And in other news, we're still going through this devotional book, 100 Days to Brave by Annie F. Downs, and it's been great. I absolutely love it. This community that we have formed around this has been so great, and I am really just so appreciating it. I usually tell you like some kind of product. I guess I told you about the Sun Bum Lotion, but the boys and I listened to Old Yeller, and it was so sad, but also so good. And so we'll be watching that movie later. I think there's only that one Old Yeller movie, isn't there? So anyway, it's cool today. You can't tell, I have jeans on, my hair is down. So we are about to do some major baking. We have zucchini in the garden, so I'm all excited about that. So if you live in Michigan, you know that we are coming into a week here, Monday, July 13th, that is not so like, yay. And I just feel like joy is just trying to be sucked out of everything. And I just wanted to remind you that there is joy in the everyday, and that when you're asking God to fill you up so you can pour out to others, He's going to. It doesn't mean that it happens automatically, but it's going to be there. And I wrote this for my 100 Days Brave Bible study, and I just thought that I would share it here because I have some friends who have gotten off of social media recently just because it's just too much. And I get it, because as Sophie Hudson just wrote, burn it all, stand all the way up, and when you want to burn it all down. And that's just kind of like how we're feeling right now, at least I am. And my husband, he was over the road this week, and he called me one day, and he's like, hey, how's it going at home? What did you watch the news? And I'm like, no, because in this circle at my house, everything is going really good, and I don't want to mess it up. And then I'm like, why? Did the world burn down or something? Like, what did I miss? It just feels like during the pandemic, everything, you're just getting bombarded with it, and now it felt like we were out of it, and now it's just kind of like coming back, and I don't know what's hitting me harder this time. So with social media, there seems to be a lot of arguing, and in 100 Days to Brave, Annie F. Downs encourages us to be a light on social media. And I do try to do that, but I don't want to come across like everything is awesome over here all the time. Oh my gosh, we have the best times all the time. Those days that I told you about were hard days, and they ended up being really good days, because even on my hard days, I'm like, God, just show me joy. Like, please give me joy. Just fill me up with joy. Fill me up with peace. I mentally think to myself, hey, God, here you go. Like, sometimes I like to give God suggestions. I'll say, hey, God, this is how I think this should happen, and you can make everything better than what I can possibly imagine. So here are my suggestions. You just whip that up and make it even better. I don't have that in me anymore. I just like give it to God and leave it there a lot of times in a day. So as soon as my mind starts racing, then I just give it back to God. And I'm not saying that you just pretend like nothing's happening and you live in a little bubble where you don't know what's going on, but I just want to remind you that even in these hard times, there's still so many things to have joy about. There's so many good things. And I just want you to be on the lookout for it. And I wrote this in my Bible study group. If ever there was a time to be a light on social media, I feel like this is it. Like, for such a time as this. I have tried to bring as much joy as I can to the internet lately, and God seems intent on making sure I have some good stuff to share, like the fishing story this week and the bike adventure. I love social media much more than I despise it, honestly. I really do. But even I have found it to be hard these days. I struggle often about being so, look for the joy, see the good, that I forget to mention that it isn't all roses and rainbows. No one wants to mention the thorns and the storms that bring the beauty in the roses and rainbows. But let me tell you, the reason I search for joy from God is because of thorns and thunderstorms. We live in a thorny, stormy time, so let's be light and spread some joy. And that's just what I want to encourage you with. That's why I do these posts, so that we can all look for the joy in the everyday and share them with each other. There's so much joy to be had when you're sharing in a community. And I feel like when things get hard, we want to pull away from everything, and we just want to kind of like go, I'm gonna huddle down here. And when things are hard, you just kind of want to close off. And I'm just encouraging you to not do that. Ask for help if you need help. And just keep looking for that joy and keep sharing it with others, because it snowball effects. It's awesome. And I leave you with this tip. Please check your toilets before you sit on them. If you happen to go fishing or to a cabin, you just check that. Just check that. Also, if you're going on a bike ride, maybe don't do a country loop. Like, that's about 4.5 miles. You may nearly die. I didn't. But don't do it. Unless you want a really awesome story. I was like, literally, if I survive this bike story, it's going to be the best story ever. So anyway, that's what I'm going to leave you with. I can't wait to hear your joy. Leave a comment here or on Facebook, or the blog is being kind of funky and I can't post pictures and see all your comments, but I see them. I just can't repost them. Or Twitter, Instagram, just let me know. It's so fun. It brings me such joy. So I hope it does for you too. See you next week.